Hello, everyone. Welcome to Raising Vibrations. This is Simon, and today I'm going to be sharing something with you that I feel is important to know about honest spiritual experiences, and also how to be able to really tap into what I honestly believe to be the truth around why we incarnate onto this plane, as an example, and also how to be able to take best advantage of using the body as the vehicle of our spiritual activation. Okay. And I've did a Chiron workshop just recently where I basically assigned Chiron to be this energy that I'm talking about right now, which is really understanding the function that the body in itself is a vehicle that we use to be able to understand ourselves in our spiritual journey. Okay. So just straight off the bat, I'm opening up with that information straight away and really getting into it, and trying to really get everybody to recognize that there's a lot of information out there about what is what is our meaning on earth, and how do we go through our lives doing certain things, and why do we experience certain things the way that we do. And to me, a lot of the information out there still keeps your consciousness in an external space. There is still a sense of not recognizing that all is self, still not recognizing that the body is the vehicle that you use for self-discovery. And when you move your attention from the outside world as being where you get trapped in, and move it into the body and into the self, and you actually feel the body, and that way, and you apply the more deeper understanding of what I call inner space, then you'll actually start to recognize that a lot of the stuff that you thought you didn't know, or you were trying to find out, or you were so seeking for, was always with you, and it always will be with you, because the body is that vehicle that we use to navigate our way through this time-space continuum. And it is also literally, it is also the experiment. Okay. And so what I want to do today is really pack home some information that makes us think, and also gives us the opportunity to start maybe asking some questions around how we can expand our awareness around this topic. All right. So I hope everybody's excited about this stuff, and I really hope that I'm able to actually convey this to you in a way that really captures your imagination. Okay. So before, and I've spoken about this in a previous video just recently, so I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I will be conveying some very acute points. And what you're seeing on the left-hand side over here is what is I've created as a diagram of a samskara, okay, or emotional wounding, or any form of parts of our consciousness and our psyche that have in some way, shape, or form got a imbalanced state of response. Okay, so either you're too polarized by duality, so and you're in a relationship with certain situations in life that are heavily influenced by too much subjectivity or too much objectivity. So you might be so objective that you're not actually allowing yourself to feel that this is a situation that's causing yourself harm, or alternatively, you're so within your own self that you're not actually recognizing the polarity of the situation. Okay. So there are many different ways in which this can show up in our lives, but really to get this main point across here that I really want to amplify and show everyone is that we all carry with us, okay, samskara, okay? It's from the Vedic philosophy, and it just literally defines these three core layers in our psyche. I mentioned before that Carl Jung also worked with this, and he was somebody that began working with this because he understood within himself, he called them little furrows in the psyche, little like nodes that were stuck there that have not been actually opened up and healed. Okay, it's literally samskar, so it's a scar in our psyche from a situation. So what you're looking at here is these layers within ourselves that we carry that dictate our responses and reactions to life. Now, this is a big deal because you must remember that whenever you're trying to interact with life, every piece of information that's coming into your field of awareness will have to be filtered through these things. And of course, if you carry quite a lot of these things with you, then what will generally happen is that you'll find yourself not actually, number one, not incarnating yourself properly, because you'll be short-circuiting your higher self. You'll be always trapped in fight or flight situations. Also, you will naturally be responding in ways where your own feelings of connection to higher self, as I said, short-circuiting, it won't be available to you. So you're literally in this place of ego protection, okay, defense. So I'll give you some examples of what I mean by this. Okay, so we all carry this with us. So we're objectifying, we have these things. And what happens is that in the middle over here, this gray area can be representative of a trauma, okay? A trauma or abandonment. You were in a relationship, somebody cheated on you, and you developed a scar where you could not trust open anymore. So all of a sudden, you have this core wounding around you of not wanting to open up because you got hurt. I know I had that. So what happens is then this external circle starts to create itself, which is this here, okay? That external circle is a ego attachment or scab that we put over the wound to protect it. And this can be like definitions, like I'm never getting into a relationship before. Or for me, it was like I don't trust anybody close to my heart because I know how much hurt I received at that stage. So we create these little scars, these little scabs around our psyche, and they come out as just like justifications, excuses, rationalizations. And this thing over here has one primary function: the survival and protection of this wound. So can you see the depth of what we're actually dealing with here when we're talking about authentic spirituality? We're dealing with, within ourselves, on one level, the ability to tap into our wounding. So when we go within ourselves, we recognize that we have aspects of ourselves that are karmically ingrained within us. That's why we use astrology. And in my case, why I use evolutionary astrology. Because what it does is it then allows me to connect deeply within the soul's trauma and then to work from the root of something to the top. So it's like from the root into the actual consciousness. We're going straight in. We're diving straight in. Because if you can clear out that root stuff, then the tree won't grow, or the weed won't grow because the root is dead. So this is what we're doing here. We're looking at the root of something. What is the cause? What is the root cause? That statement exists for a reason. Okay. So now that we've come to that understanding, we recognize that now we do this. We go, the fight or flight response, okay, also called the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response in PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, Uranus, trauma, fracturing, hyperarousal, or the acute stress response, okay, is a physiological reaction that occurs in response to a perceived harm event, attack, or threat to survival. So this thing needs to be protected. This outer thing is the defense mechanism. So what happens is that we have situations come into our ways. People can trigger us off. People trigger us. And then what happens is that we respond to them, usually with emotion. It will always be with emotion. And when we respond, or should I say react, we usually react out of pain, out of hurt, out of duality. We never actually see past it. So for us to really come to this truth is that many, many souls that we have relationship with hold space for us to realize these things within ourselves, the illusions. And true authentic spirituality is confronting the self, because we all have Scorpio in our chart, and realizing our limitations through the illusions that we have been intoxicated by. When we understand this process, we literally emancipate ourselves from all of the nonsense that keeps us separated from our higher selves. And simply the higher self is the awareness of the story that we chose before we incarnated onto this plane. So all this does, these fourth dimensional astral woundings is keep us separated from our actual reasons why we incarnated on this earth, which is why, and only why, like, I don't care, I'm making a very, very bold statement at this stage, but I don't care. You honestly only understand the nature of spiritual growth through having to go through your own stuff first, i.e. the rite of passage. Because the moment you go through your own dark night of the soul and your own journey, you wake up to what is actually occurring, because not only do you create authentic realizations of what's occurring, you also develop your capacity for compassion and understanding, which allows you to then understand more of your journey. Like, you wake up to yourself, you actually clear the debris. So, as an example, the authentic understanding of Jesus dying on the cross was his sacrifice to his own cross that he bears. And so as you do that, your karma yoga, you dissolve the relationship, the ego's relationship to what it wants, and you align it with the soul's desires, which is something more deeper. Now, to get to your soul desires, you need to go through this process first. So this is a big deal. And the way that you go through this process is by realizing, firstly, that you have these things. Secondly, you then apply the divine masculine and feminine archetype. Okay? Authentic spiritual truth. Masculine and feminine archetype. The feminine is going into the body and saying, okay, firstly, I accept this with compassion, nurture. I accept this. Okay. For me, I have skipped steps. Yes, I deal with a lot of feelings of like abandonment around my own soul's journey. So I create raising vibrations because I felt abandoned myself by God, as it were, or by myself, but realized that I wasn't actually abandoned. I was just actually developing the path to where I am today. And every single one of you can do this. It's not exclusive. This is what's so important for us to understand at this stage, is that if we get tied up in the stuff and the nonsense outside of ourselves, we forget about the actual reasoning as to why we're here. Because when you incarnate your higher self into your physical body, the connection's there. You have infinite energy, in the context that you will always be inspired, because your higher self is always giving the direction you need to go. So you first feel within yourself, you make the realization all is self, you are the creator. You understand that, you feel into say, okay, I've got this abandonment issue. I was traumatized when I was a kid. And you then go in the expansion masculine archetype of bringing in higher consciousness. So as an example, one of the ladies that I worked with in the Metamorphosis program shared that if you have like abandonment issues regarding your inner child, to literally go back to that place or that pain, put a blanket over it and say it's okay, like nurture that part, so that you literally create a different timeline when you incarnate yourself going forward. Because the next time somebody gives you an issue and you respond in a balanced state of like healedness, I am healed in here, I don't need to feel like I'm being victimized by the situation, you instantaneously will change the response and reactions to situations. And what will notably happen at that stage is people will naturally drop off around you that are not in support of this. And this is a big thing. So what in reality shows this process? Okay, so you can see over here that there's three interesting things. You know how I always talk about masculine energy, I always talk about feminine energy, or patriarchy, matriarchy. Well, this is what we're dealing with here. So in Kabbalah, we have these three structures. We have Manly P. Hall, with, if you don't know him or have read about him, I highly recommend researching his material. He's awesome. Okay, he talks about the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. This is what it's about. The body is a living representation of our spirituality. But because we've been so focused on external things, we've actually forgotten about the understanding that the body in itself carries all the knowledge we need, in the sense of the spiritual part of our journeys. Okay, so let me be more clear on what I'm trying to say here, is that tree of knowledge is a representation of blood. Okay, because blood in this particular instance correlates to that sense of fire. Okay, it's the process of our ability to experience the heart. So as an example, yeah, there are two great systems in the body of man. Body of man, remember? Now, collectively, we are the body of man. Individually, we are the body of ourselves. The tree of life, which is the arterial with its root in the heart, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, i.e. the nervous system, which has the roots in the brain. These two trees are physical manifestations of a complicated network of branching energy currents in the auric and superphysical bodies. In other words, masculine and feminine, right? Nerves are receptive. They are receptive to the environment you're in. So they're feminine energy. It's the negativity of theirs. So have you noticed that electricity is always blue and red? Have you noticed these colors with blue and red all the time? The electromagnetic spectrum, which is Uranus. Where do your thoughts come from? How do thoughts occur? Do thoughts just come in moments of like, da, 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 to think, or do they come in the da, 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 that was a spark of insight, a shock, an awareness. Now, for many of us on the planet at this stage, we don't understand or have recognized that the nervous system has been incredibly shut down due to massive amounts of consistent bombardment of death, destruction, violence, okay, and so on and so forth. So all of a sudden, our ability to be sensitive and to feel regarding our environment has been so distorted and subdued that we've actually lost our capacity to recognize how sensitive we are to our environment. So no wonder we get ill, because we're not going, my body's not going, that's bad for me at this stage, because I'm not really sensitive to it. Now, because everything is electromagnetic in this particular instance, electro would be what? The masculine energy. Magnetic would be feminine, because it's magnetized. I'm bringing it to me, okay? Whereas the electro is the positive, or in this case, the red and arterial functions. It's the blood, it's the life. So when you have the masculine and feminine energy incarnating on self, you have feminine there. So the one side of your brain is feminine, creative, and the other side of your brain is masculine and expansive, okay? And down the middle is the, yes, you guessed it, spine. What is the spine? The spine is Jacob's ladder. The spine is the ability to climb and heal your chakras, clear out all the gunge. And you do that by the balanced masculine and feminine. So again, if you look here, you'll see awareness, feminine energy. I'm receptive. I'm going inward. I'm understanding myself. I'm sensitive to this environment. I'm learning about these damaged parts of myself. The masculine, I'm going to explore it. I'm going to have courage. I'm going to expand upon this. I'm going to heal the heart. I'm going to bring more blood pumping through myself. I'm going to feel alive. Because that's what a samskara does. It doesn't make you feel alive. And you don't even know about this. We don't even know about this. Like, that's the scariest part about this situation, is that you don't even know how much of your body is not actually incarnated until you've cleared out stuff to realize how much you were actually missing. So as an example, I'd like to try this with everybody today. I'd like everybody to give an opportunity for you to not drink any alcohol for 1 week, and to drink just water. Try a cleanse. Try maybe some apple cider vinegar as an example to clear out any candida. Just give yourself 1 week where you just say to yourself, okay, I just want to practice paying attention consistently to my body for 1 week. Now, if you do eat meat at this point in time, I'm not saying you have to change it. Try out cutting out dairy. Okay, maybe that's a bad idea, because if you cut out dairy and meat, you're going to go through a huge detox, which sucks, trust me. But let's just try the water thing. Let's just try the increased dose of concentrating on the body, just for 1 week. Maybe even write it down if you're interested in it. And just practice understanding how much of your consciousness is actually away from the body, and how much of your actual awareness in your environment has been taken away because of mobile telephones, of watching this thing here, or that person saying that, etc. And really just coming back to a week's retreat where you just go and you just sit with yourself and you just heal that physical body. You just heal the nervous system. Try to not have sort of like alarms and etc. Just try some quietness and notice how your body will respond to that situation. It will change quite a lot. It's actually quite amazing. Okay, everyone. I really hope that you enjoyed this discussion with me today. I love talking about these things. It was a very short discussion for me to just open up this portal for us to jump into, to explore. please write in the comments below about your experiences and thoughts and ideas and anything that you feel that you want to contribute to this conversation. Remember that I'm just holding a space for everybody to jump into it. So if you're a healer, if you're somebody that knows stuff, feel free to chime in on the comments and allow other people to learn in that way as well. Okay? Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I highly appreciate your time. And if you can hit that like and subscribe button, that will definitely help this video as well, and share it with anybody that you felt will benefit from this. And if you want to support the work in any way whatsoever, just come to my sites, check out what services I've got, book a reading, etc. It gives me the opportunity to basically spend my time doing this for you. And yeah, have a fantastic day and take care. Bye-bye.